G'day, I'm Ash, and this is the 1.85 Supersonic dev server. And of course, today we're going to be taking a quick overview of some of the tanks and ground vehicles within War Thunder. Now, before we move on, all content is subject to change and may very well be updated in the near future with changes and other features. So everything here you should see should not be taken as final and most likely will be changed before final release. And with that ado, we'll be taking a look at ground vehicles. Now, this is going to be an extensive list. Starting off with the Americans. If you didn't think your American lineup was strong enough or needed any more vehicles, well, just wait until the A10 Thunderbolt, not Thunderbolt, you get the A10 Warthog comes into game, because you know what, you're going to have 10 vehicles to play with as well. But this is the Bradley, rank 6, battle rating 8.7. It's an infantry fighting vehicle, and it's got 6 tow missiles that can be loaded in this arm up the top, which it launches itself and puts it down, reloads itself. It's quite a fancy mechanic and quite an interesting vehicle. It's mostly made out of aluminium, although it has upper armor of various different other composite metals, as well as tungsten and various other bits and pieces. But this is War Thunder, so what else does it have? It's got a 25mm M242 cannon with 900 rounds, and it's also got a 7.62mm M240 machine gun. And well, let's first off take a look at the armor, because again, it's an infantry fighting vehicle. It's supposed to fight infantry, and at most it's got 12.7mm of effective thickness at the front, with 38mm, and with a little bit of spaced, hull. With an aluminium alloy of 38mm, so it's not really going to stop much. It does have some rolled homogeneous armor, but that's basically it. In terms of protection, it doesn't have any ERA, although it does have a ammunition storage for the mainly primary secondary weapon there, and as well as ammunition everywhere, obviously, for the 25mm gun. Now, it's quite a large crew. It's a 5-man crew, and it has a mass of 19 tons. Now, its max speed is 66 kilometers an hour, and, well, its visibility is 117%. Now, I can't spend all day on these vehicles. I might do a separate vehicle review on this one in the near future, but this vehicle is certainly interesting. It'll help with America's top tier. Now, Russia gets a awesome vehicle, obviously not the T-80B, but in the form of not the helicopters, but in the form of the T-72A. Now let's put this thing in a crew here. We're just going to choose a crew for this bastard. I'm going to show you the speciality of this vehicle. Right, aside from being a T-72, well, it's got a 125mm gun with 44 rounds. It's a battle rating 6 9.3 vehicle, but it has something rather special. And we're going to go into a test drive and show you this. Now, of course, it's got a crew of 3, so it's just a regular T-72. There's nothing too special about it. The T-72 was meant for export, although they did have versions which they used in Russia. Now, let's turn this thing around so you can actually see it better. I'm not quite sure if that's a turbine engine or not, but it's got the obligatory Russian log. Now, of course, it's got, firepower, standard. Did you see that? Let me do that again once the shell reloads. All right. Hatch opens. Bloop! Out goes the shell. The shell actually ejects out the back of the turret. I think. Let's drive backwards. Oh, you can't get it quite on the back deck. Regardless, it's a fairly versatile vehicle, and I'm looking forward to getting my hands on this one. Just because it's a T-72, and I think it's fantastic. I don't know why, it's just that mechanic right there. Loop. And there it is on the back deck. The shell landed on the back of the tank there. You never cease to amaze me. I think this is the most entertaining thing I've done out of 1.85 by far. I want to see if you can actually eject the shell and have it land in a tank beside you, like an ASU. That'd be funny as hell to do. But regardless, next vehicle. Britain gets a new challenger. It's the Mark III. It's a rank 6 battle rating 9.7 vehicle. It's got the same 120mm gun, the L11A5. It's got same guns, same smoke launchers. However, this one looks a little bit different. Now, you may notice on the side here some protection. And yep, this vehicle has got ERA. Let's have a look at the armour on the vehicle. Of course, ERA, effective thickness 30mm, effective thickness 31mm. It's got composite side skirts, and it's got something that the other Challenger was really missing, and that is lower homogeneous protection, I guess, and ERA on the lower hull. On the X-ray, shows basically the same thing, and the turret seems to be a bit more beefy. There's composite armor everywhere. Good luck getting through the turret of this thing, unless you're shooting it in the direct rear or from the rear of the turret. But it's good to see that this has the Roma ERA and should be effective at stopping chemical energy munitions of 300mm of penetration. So there's that. Hopefully it's a decent modification, but again, no really decent shell on the Challenger Mark III. So it's going to be kind of mediocre in its role, but it's certainly fantastic to see. And that's pretty much it for the Challenger Mark III. I hope to test it out when it goes onto the live server. But anyway, the next vehicle they have is this thing. This is a Centurion. Well, it was. The Israelis got their hands on the Centurion, decided that they wanted a better gun, so they mounted a 105mm gun on it. They put machine guns as far as the eye can see. There's one coaxial mounted and then 3 on the top of the turret. It's also got a really strange smoke launcher system with 2 on either side of the turret, and an independent smoke launching system which has a stacked kind of grenade. And it's got a battering ram as well as ERA on the front of the hull and on the turret, and so much storage. It's quite remarkable. Standard Centurion as far as the side goes, but on the front it's got the ERA, which is really nice. On the sides it's got a little bit of extra sloping and construction steel to stop shells from coming in. It's got boxes and all sorts, but in the X-ray, well, this is basically it. It's got explosive reactive armor on the sides of the turret, on the front, and a little bit of portions here and there, and that's really about it. So basically, it's a Centurion. It's a premium, a rank 6, battle rating 8.7, and it's a slow Centurion. So expect it to be a bit slower than regular. It has a nice gun, and that's really the most important thing about this vehicle, is it's 105 ordnance. But that's really it. It's a premium, and the battering ram, before anyone asks, that battering ram does no damage to other vehicles. So sadly, you can't use it to ram someone and do certain damage. Now, the next vehicle, France doesn't get any tanks. Neither does any other nation. Well, aside from Italy, but we'll get to Italy in a second. Japan has the Type 89, which is an IFV that everyone requested, and obviously Gaijin went through with it, and it's a rank 6 battle rating 8.0 infantry fighting vehicle. Now, okay, it's got a 35mm cannon with 250 rounds, and it's got a 7.62mm machine gun. Aside from that, it doesn't really have much protection. Its X-ray is kind of limiting. It's all in compartments. You've got a machine gunner, you've got a driver, a commander, and a gunner. Everything is really compartmental. The ammo is all in the back and on the left side, and the armor is basically non-existent. Aside from one humongous bug, I assume this is a bug on the dev server, the mantlet armor. Thickness, 500mm. I don't know if that's a bug or if that's an actual thing, but I hope that that's a bug, because I don't think it had 500mm on the gun mantlet. If it did, well, good for them, but aside from that, there's not really much else to show. There is, however, a Type 79 ATGM, and they can hold 6 of them. They're launched 2 either side, and then of course they've got to be manually reloaded. I think they're manually reloaded. I'm not sure if there's a reloading animation. As far as I'm aware, there isn't when I did my test drive of this vehicle. But that's really it for Japan. So yeah.